So the story, I'll read it to you. There was once a Swiss guard who worked at the border of Austria. He worked there for many years, took a great deal of pride in his work. One morning, an Austrian man arrived at the border riding a bicycle. Steve, you hear this? He was riding a bicycle. On the front of the bike was a basket filled with sand. Do you know this story? It's a basket filled with sand. Another guard might have simply waved him through, but the Swiss guard did not. If you know anything about the Swiss, this tells you why. Indeed, he brought out a special comb he kept just for such a purpose and began to sift through the sand in the basket. You see, he suspected that this Austrian might be a smuggler. Finding nothing but sand, however, he waved the man through. The same thing happened the next day and the day after that. Though he never found anything, he kept on looking day after day for 30 long years. Finally, one day, the Swiss guard spoke to the Austrian man and said, "I have to ask you a question. This has been on my mind for years, and this is my last day of work. And I'm going to retire. And all these years, I've been suspecting you. I've been suspecting that you have been a smuggler. And so I now ask you, I have to know, I want to know, are you a smuggler?" And the Austrian man hesitates. And the Swiss guard reassures him. He says, I'm retiring. Don't worry. I give you my word of honor that I'm not going to prosecute you, and nobody will. But I have to know. "Very well," says the Austrian. "Then I will tell you that I am indeed a smuggler." "I knew it," the guard said. "But each day I look through your basket with a comb, and I found nothing but sand. What have you been smuggling?" "Bicycles." Bicycles. And in this beautiful book, The Beggar King and the Secret of Happiness, the author says it's the hardest thing to do, seeing what's right in front of your face. God knows. It's the hardest thing to do. We run around searching for glory, searching for wisdom, searching for what makes us happy. And it's right there. It's right there. And it's right here. I'll tell you a different story. When I first came to Bethel, it was Zach Ballason's bar mitzvah. I came here because a friend of mine who had been a student at Duke, who was a student of Eric's, died suddenly of a heart attack. And I flew across the country. He and I grew up swimming together, and I flew across the country and came to his funeral. I got a room at the, what's it called? The
Duke Tower.
Duke Tower. That's has a different name now, but it was at the Duke Tower, and got a room there that was walking distance to First Presbyterian Church downtown. And the funeral was Friday afternoon. And I walked back with some of my friends, and then my friends traveled back up to Washington, D.C. We grew up in D.C. swimming together. And then the next morning I came to shul. And I put myself right outside the library in the seats that used to face this way, right over there. And I watched Rabbi Sager have this conversation with the bar mitzvah, which I had never seen before. And I said, this is cool. I like this. And then everybody sang together for Musaf. And I said, I like this place. And I don't think it was until I got home to Los Angeles, I had been thinking about leaving Ramah, and I found out that Rabbi Sager was retiring, and Bethel was searching for a rabbi. And I forgot one part of the story. When I was walking back from the funeral at First Presbyterian Church, I walked along the street with a friend of mine named Thomas Lee, who is a deacon in his church. The coaches say there must have been something in the water, because one of us went on to be a PhD in religion, the other one a rabbi, and the other one a deacon at his church. So we're walking along, and my friend Thomas knows that I'm a rabbi, and we're walking along, and we're just wondering to ourselves, how in the world are we walking away from the funeral of our friend David Knauert? And Thomas turns to me and he says, Greyber, I know you're a rabbi and you can't buy a drink on Shabbos, but can I buy you one? He didn't say Shabbos, he said the Sabbath or something like that. And I said, sure, Thomas, that actually sounds great. And so we walked into a bar, and the bar that we walked into was the West End Wine Bar. And years later, when I first started as the rabbi, Becca Resnick took her life. And we became very good friends with Jared and Jennifer and their family. And we were going out, and I didn't know this, but he said, we'll go over to my bar for a drink. And I walk into the bar, and I say, I've been here before. That table, I know. I sat there with my friends. And I share that story because I think I was brought here and I was given a gift not only in the congregation, but also with my friend and my teacher, who I love very much. I'm going to say a Misha Berach for you, and I'm not asking your permission, because it's the right thing for a community to pray for its teacher and to pray at this hour. And you are brave, and I look at you in awe as you walk through the world with cancer. And whatever time you have is full and good time. And we can pray for you to be given more of it. And for you to be given health in the deepest sense of the word. Misha Berach Avotenu Avraham Yitzchak Yaakov Ve'imotenu Sar Rivka Rachav Leah U'yivarech v'rapeh Tacholeh Morenu Rabbeinu Harav Yisrael Gadal Ben Batya HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yishlach lo me'era refuah shlema min hashamayim. Refuah nefesh, refuah guf. B'toch shar cholei Yisrael. V'nomar amen. Please rise. The Chatzi Kaddish, the middle of 390.